When you enter the game, you'll be greeted with a faction selection menu. There are 15 playable factions in the game, and each faction has their own Discord server that you have to join to fully experience everything this game has to offer. You should join the Knights Templar, obviously. Now you'll be greeted with a short combat tutorial. Follow the instructions, we'll have a more in-depth combat tutorial later. If this is your first time playing this game, you'll spawn at a capital base, Kerak. If you've already played before, but don't know your current location, you can ask an HR in our Discord and they'll send a rally call. This will give you a prompt on your screen that looks like this, and will let you teleport to Kerak. But before we explore Kerak, let's open up the map. Press M and you'll open up the map. Click these options up here to switch to a larger view. These are all the regions in Lionhearts Crusade. Here is Sicily. It is home to the Kingdom of Sicily, the Knights Hospitaller, and the Kingdom of France. This is the island of Cyprus. Here you'll find the Empire of Cyprus and the Kingdom of England. Over here is the Northern Levant. Here you'll find the Byzantine Empire, the Order of Assassins, the Seljuk Sultanate, the Principality of Antioch, and Knights Hospitaller. This is the Central Levant. Here is where you can find the Ubaid Sultanate, the Teutonic Order, the Abbasid Dynasty, and the Kingdom of France. And lastly, this is the Southern Levant. Here you'll find the Kingdom of England, the Abbasid Dynasty, the Kingdom of Jerusalem, the Holy Roman Empire, and of course our faction, the Knights Templar. All of these factions own parts of the map called garrisons. Garrisons can be captured between factions who are at war during something called a region battle. Region battles are scheduled every weekend, and each player has a limited number of lives. Every garrison has its own flag. For a faction to take a garrison, it has to stay on the flag for a certain amount of time. Bases are different than garrisons. As you may have already seen in Kerak, they are their own maps within a region. A base can be accessed by walking through a portal that looks like this. Or, if the base is owned by your faction or your faction's ally, you can teleport to it directly by going to the region it's located in, clicking on its icon, then clicking teleport. Bases are connected to their closest garrison. If this garrison is captured, then a siege can be declared on the base. Sieges have two phases, first the field battle, then the main siege. In the field battle phase, the attackers need to win points by holding flags in order to proceed to the next phase. Like the field battle, the main siege has multiple flags that need to be under control of the attackers. But in the main siege, every flag has to be under their control to win, not just gain points. The most important thing to remember is that you have an unlimited number of lives during the field battle, but you have a limited number of lives during the main siege. Also important to note are the two types of servers that every region and base can have. First, there is the Conquest server, also referred to as a primary server. In a primary server, you can teleport to your faction's garrisons directly using the map. If your faction is allied with another faction, you will also be able to teleport to their garrisons. Also, being in the Conquest server of your faction's base allows you access to these flags up here. These flags let you teleport around the base. If you teleport to point B and walk over here, you'll find the Caravan Master NPC. This NPC can be used to teleport to different regions across the map. Being in the Conquest server of your base also lets you teleport to Jerusalem directly. The second type of server is called the secondary server. In the secondary server, you can teleport to any faction's garrison as long as you've discovered it on the map. You can discover a garrison by reaching its exploration point, most commonly found on the highest point of the garrison. You discover a base by finding its teleport portal and walking through. You'll know you've discovered bases and garrisons when it's visible on the map. Secondary servers also allow you to use a horse. Just visit a stable and talk to this NPC. Let's talk about one more thing before we go back to Kerak: diplomacy. Because each faction is led by players, players are the ones who dictate diplomacy between factions. As you already know, factions can declare war against each other, and they can also form alliances. But factions can also sign non-aggression pacts between each other, which ends any wars, alliances, or vassalage. When a faction captures the capital base of another faction during a war and holds that capital for a certain amount of time, the other faction becomes a vassal. Being a vassal means having your faction treasury drained, not owning any garrisons, and not being able to fight your overlords. They aren't a vassal forever though. After a certain amount of time, the vassalized faction is able to revolt against their overlords. However, if they fail this revolt, they become vassals for an even longer time and they aren't able to revolt anytime soon. Non-aggression pacts don't prevent war from being declared, but if a faction does violate a non-aggression pact, their faction's honor will decrease. You can view all of this diplomacy happening through these channels in the main Lionhearts Discord server. This channel specifically, Political Declarations, is where you can find leaders discuss diplomacy throughout the game. With that out of the way, let's head back to Kerak. First, let's talk about the controls. Pressing B will open up your inventory. This is where you can equip items. It's also important to note that items in your inventory have weight, and you have a weight limit of 180. You can still have items in your inventory that exceed the weight limit, but you'll have a movement speed debuff applied. To prevent this, you can store your items by talking to the storage master. If you want even more storage space, you can buy a house. Buy a house by finding these buildings and interact with their door. Buying a house costs gold, and if the rent price is above 0, you'll have to pay an amount of gold every week. There are multiple house types, and the more expensive ones come with greater storage and other benefits. The section next to your inventory is the crafting guide. Here you'll see the crafting recipes for every item in the game, and also the experience level needed to craft it. More on this later. You can select the rest of the menus up here, or press K to open the Experience tab, press L to open the Factions tab, and press G to open Matchmaking. These are the most relevant tabs that you need to know. Now let's explore Kerak. To move around faster, you can press Shift once to move to jogging speed, and press Shift again to move to running speed. Pressing Ctrl will bring your pace down. It goes from a normal walking speed to a march to a crouch, and now a crawl. You can dash by pressing Q. Jumping, dashing, and using a movement speed faster than walking will drain your stamina. Here we have the silver shop. You can buy a limited selection of items here with silver. Silver is one of the 2 currencies in the game, the other being gold. Silver is used here at the shop and also for AFK grinding, like the AFK mining you might have seen near spawn. Silver does not have a chance of dropping, even if you die, unlike gold, which can drop from your inventory if you die. You get silver from killing bandits, completing quests, and completing matches in matchmaking. Matchmaking is also important for one more thing: getting experience, or XP for short. You see these numbers here? That's the XP level you need to use a weapon to its fullest potential. Each weapon and armor has its own XP level that you can level up. As you get more XP, you'll unlock skill points. You can spend these skill points in the skill tree of the weapon you're using for buffs. Armor does not have a skill tree, but if you don't have the XP level for a certain type of armor, you won't be able to equip it. This works differently for weapons, as you actually can equip any weapon even if you don't have the XP for it, but you will get a damage debuff applied when you use it. Combat does have its own skill tree. So where does matchmaking fit into all of this? Well, matchmaking is the fastest way to level up in Lionhearts Crusade. Click G to open up the matchmaking menu and choose one of these game modes. You'll be fighting against NPCs. This will level up your combat XP and your weapon XP, along with your armor XP if you get hit. And when you win, you'll be rewarded with extra XP at the end. Also make sure to use an XP boost voucher before fighting the bots for even more XP. They're extremely common to get, mainly through daily rewards, but if you do run out, feel free to ask around for more. Now that you know how to grind for weapon XP, let's talk about the weapons themselves. There are 2 types of melee weapons: 2-handed weapons and 1-handed weapons. 2-handed weapons include battle axes, warhammers, halberds, and greatswords. These weapons do more damage than 1-handed weapons, but take longer to charge an attack and cost more stamina to swing than 1-handed weapons. 1-handed weapons include the short sword, spear, mace, and dagger. With a 1-handed weapon, you can have a bow equipped in your inventory. The bow is one of 2 ranged weapons in the game, the other being the crossbow. Crossbows take up a primary slot in your inventory, so you can only have a dagger equipped. It's also important to note that when you don't have any armor equipped, and you hold your 1-handed weapon, then pressing Q will turn your dash into a roll. There are 2 types of armor, light armor and heavy armor. Light armor has less armor protection than heavy armor, but it gives you mobility buffs like lower stamina cost when running or dashing. You can acquire weapons, armor, and most other things by crafting them yourself, from your faction, or through trade. Trade is done either through market stalls like these, found in every base, but mainly in Jerusalem, or through the trading channel in the main Lionhearts Discord server. This channel is used mostly to buy and sell rare items though. For more common materials, you can always request it from your faction. For example, the Knights Templar has a request area in the Discord where you can request items or for items to be crafted on your behalf. To create your own equipment, head over here. This is the smelting station. It takes raw ores and turns them into ingots. You can get these ores from mining. Mining can be done at an AFK mining station, but to get even more ores, you can mine in infernum zones. These are areas scattered around the map that have lots of ores to mine in one place. But you have to be careful, there are guards stationed at these areas and you have to crouch to avoid their detection. It's not just guards you have to worry about, hostile players might look to kill you and steal your loot. These hostile players, often referred to as hunters, will be active in primary servers only. This is because if you die in an infernum zone while in a primary server, you lose all of your inventory. This can be avoided by making sure you are mining in a secondary server. Mining in a primary server does have a benefit of giving you more materials per ore mined. The smelting station also locks what type of ingots you can smelt behind smelting XP. To increase your smelting XP and unlock better ingots, you have to smelt ingots repeatedly. With these better ingots, you can then craft better gear. This gear is crafted at the smithing station. The smithing station is also tied to smithing XP. An easy way to get lots of smithing XP is to craft a large number of stone gear. To craft bows and crossbows, come over to the wood carving station. Crafting bows and crossbows takes wood saplings. These saplings come from trees that are found only in certain parts of the map. For example, African elm and African elm saplings can only be found in Cairo. If you don't see a sapling present at these locations, you'll have to chop down the trees you see in order for a sapling to hopefully respawn. Crafting a crossbow also requires a normal wood type and 2 ingots. Crafting arrows and bolts is a much simpler process. Come over here to the fletching station. Arrows and bolts are crafted with the same recipe, 1 ingot and 1 normal wood type. They are crafted in groups of 30. To create tonics, another word for potions, head over to this pot. Using tonics will grant you temporary changes to your stats. Some of these flowers for these recipes are found throughout the game, but most of them have common spawn locations where you can find them easily. Like with smithing, smelting, bow crafting, and arrow crafting, you gain XP in tonic making by simply crafting stuff at your level. But before crafting your items, make sure to activate any XP boosters in your inventory. You can do that by coming over here to the top left and clicking on the multiplier. You might also notice this flag here. This is your PvP toggle. Press P to enable or disable PvP. Having your PvP disabled doesn't mean other players can't kill you. It just makes them lose honor if they do. You can check your honor by going into your inventory and looking at the left side over here. Killing players with negative honor will bring your honor up. Killing your teammates without PvP enabled also brings your honor down. When interacting with someone by pressing F or by clicking their name in chat, you can endorse or denounce them. Endorsing someone brings their honor up by 1, while denouncing someone decreases their honor by 1. Having negative honor also brings the honor of your faction down. This is especially important because a faction's honor is used as currency for diplomatic actions like forming alliances. This brings us to our next icon, the faction emblem. Hovering over it will tell you details about your rank and the contribution you need to move to the next rank. Faction contribution, along with your general level, is used to determine your rank. To get faction contribution and rank up, you have to attend faction events like battles and trainings. Contribution can also be gained by donating to the faction stockpile found here. It is recommended you don't donate anything too valuable. Clicking the faction icon will bring you to the faction menu. This is where you can find information on the faction that you are in. The Relations tab will let you see your faction's allies, any non-aggression pacts active, and enemies. The Stability tab shows you your faction's current stability and what's affecting it. Lower stability means your faction's leader is at risk of getting replaced. Coming down to these 3 flags will bring you to the divisions of your faction. These divisions grant you special uniforms and special ranks within the division. You can join the division by clicking its icon and clicking Join Division. That's all you need to know for this section. Going back to the top left, this icon here shows you the biome and the zone that you are in. Finally, let's talk about combat. There are 4 attacking directions. The longer you charge an attack, the more damage you do. To change the direction of your attack, right-click and move your cursor. This is called feinting. Feinting allows your attacks to be unpredictable, making them harder to be blocked. You block an attack by right-clicking on the direction you are being attacked from. That little yellow marker that appears right as you block is your parry window. If you timer block just as you're about to get hit, you will parry your attacker. This causes them to be momentarily stunned and unable to move. But be careful, you have a limited amount of block defense. When you successfully block an attack, your block defense takes a hit. If you run out of block defense by blocking too many hits, you will have your block defense broken. When this happens, you will be stunned and unable to move, just like being parried. Shields have a large amount of block defense, and they block attacks from all directions. But if they take too many hits, their block defense will break as well. If you want to stop an attack from reaching you, but don't want to block, you can clash an attack. Clashing an attack means attacking from the same direction at the same time as your opponent, and when it comes to fighting in a group, it's recommended to use more up and down attacks. This is to prevent team killing with large swings of your weapon. Ranged combat works like this. You equip your weapon, load it, aim, and fire. The projectile that you shoot, be it an arrow or bolt, will not go directly towards your crosshair. This is because it shoots out of your ranged weapon. You have to account for this as well as drop, so make sure you get your target practice in. And that's it. If you've made it this far, thank you. I hope to see you on the battlefield, hopefully as a fellow Knight Templar.